A Halloween Scare at My House, written by Eric James, illustrated by Marina as read to you by Daisy. Prepare if you dare, a Halloween scare at my house. Prepare if you dare, a Halloween scare at my house. Prepare if you dare for a terrible scare, a night of pure terror to whiten your hair. A tale full of sights that are best left unseen. You ready? You sure? This was my Halloween. The werewolves howled loudly, the moon shone so bright. I stayed in my bedroom, the curtains shut tight. My heart started pounding, my knees felt so weak, but being a brave kid, I just had to peek. I pulled back the curtains, my mouth open wide. An army of monsters had gathered outside. They staggered and stumbled and lurched down the streets with bags full of cookies and candy corn treats. Emerging from sewers and houses and stores came creatures and critters with ravenous roars. Then more came along from all over the state. They filled up the streets at a dizzying rate. From north and from south, from the west and the east, from every direction came all kinds of beasts. They gathered together for one spooky night to seek out the living and give them a fright. The thunder clapped loudly with terrible booms. The witches dodged lightning and clung to their brooms. The two-headed doggies tried chasing their tails, and banshees let loose with their hideous wails. The vampires hung out on the street in their gangs and grinned just to show off their pearly white fangs. The mummies moaned loudly and swayed side to side, while Frankenstein stomped about town with his bride. A crazy inventor was harnessing lightning, and up in his lab he did something quite frightening. He made his own monster half dog and half shark. I heard that its bite was much worse than its bark. A silly old wizard with very bad sight bumped into another, which started a fight. A hapless young local who stood in the road was struck by a spell and turned into a toad. The creepies were crawly, the crazies were crazed. The shuffling zombies had eyes that were glazed. The gigantic ogres were ugly as sin, with big bulging noses and warts on their chin. The ghouls danced around but were lacking in soul. The gargoyles could rock and the headless could roll. Although the whole spectacle seemed to spell doom, I foolishly thought I'd be safe in my room. But then something happened that made my heart jump. From somewhere below me, I heard a big bump. I froze for a moment, as quiet as a mouse. Yes, I could hear noises from inside the house. I put on my slippers and pulled on my robe. I shook like a leaf, but I don't think it showed. Then slowly but surely I crept down the stairs, preparing myself for the biggest of scares. My hands trembled wildly. I opened the door. I still shudder now at the horrors I saw. The stereo spat out some hideous sounds as dozens of monsters jumped madly around. The sight was horrific, it made my skin crawl. These monsters were having their Halloween ball. And right in the middle one monster loomed tall, the hairiest, scariest monster of all. He turned round and saw me. I fell to my knees. "I'm not very tasty, so don't eat me, please." He beamed ear to ear and broke free from the huddle, ran over and gave me a big monster cuddle. "At last, we have found you," he said with a smile. "We've roamed everywhere and we've looked for a while. We came here to give you your wonderful prize." He held up a trophy in front of my eyes. "A prize? And for me?" I replied with a grin. "But what did I enter and how did I win?" "You've won the first prize for the costume you're wearing. It even scares me, and I'm tip-top at scaring." "This isn't a costume, I'm just dressed as me. Exactly the scariest thing you can be. A small human child with a cute button nose. Your teeth are so shiny, you've only 10 toes. No hair on your face, and no horns on your head. The whites of your eyes are not glowing or red. A bone-chilling costume, a horrible sight. A worthy ensemble for Halloween night." We partied together until the moon set, a Halloween night that I'll never forget. And next year I won't want to hide in my bed. The monsters won't scare me. I'll scare them instead.